Let's talk about centre-level variability, which is one of those horrible technical terms, but what it essentially means is how much any individual school or college's results change year on year. Now, some variation in year-on-year results at school or college level is absolutely normal, and we see it because of changes in the cohort, so you might have a slightly different profile of students sitting your qualifications. We see it because of entry changes, so a different change in the mix of which qualifications students take or when they take them, and even things like staff turnover, so that you're not comparing like with like year on year. So we do commonly see a level of variation in the results within each school or college year to year. But what we can do is look at that at a national level and get a sense of how well schools and colleges are adapting to the reforms. And overall, what we've seen this year is that centre-level variability is generally at a very similar level to last year. Now, that's really encouraging and what we would really hope to see. And it suggests that there hasn't been significant disruption as a result of the introduction of the reforms. Now, the new reformed GCSEs have seen slightly more centre-level variability. I think that's to be expected because it reflects changes to the structure of the new 9-to-1 qualifications, along with how well each particular school or college has understood and adapted to the changes. If we have a look in detail at some of the reformed GCSEs, we can have an idea of how those specifications are settling down. So each of these graphs looks at subject level detail. Now, a higher peak and a narrower spread is good. That essentially means there's less variation at a centre level and more stability in each school and college's results. A lower peak and a wider spread means there's more variability at a centre level. Now, the graphs on the left show this year's results, so how much results varied in 2018 compared with 2017. And the graphs on the right show last year's variation, so 2017 results compared with 2016. Now, if we look, for example, at GCSE English Language, of course, it's the second year of that qualification, so we'd hope to see a bit less variability as centres settle into the new specifications. And encouragingly, that's exactly what we have seen. So you can see on the right a slightly lower peak and a wider spread, suggesting a bit more variability last year. But this year, we've actually seen the swings bunch up towards the middle, which is no swing, and that shows that schools and colleges have generally settled into the new specifications and have seen less churn in their results to last year. And it's a really similar picture for GCSE English Literature as well. Again, we've seen that bed in, become a little bit more stable, and schools and colleges have typically had slightly more consistent results. GCSE Maths, because of the nature of the qualification, actually always sees relatively little year-on-year variation. And you can see that because most of the schools and colleges are clustered around the centre of the graph. But even then, if we compare to last year, which was the first year of the new specification, we've seen a slight decrease in that variability. So more stability, more consistency in individual schools and colleges' results. Now, we can take a look at GCSE Combined Science to get a comparison with how things have changed this year in one of the first sittings of a new reformed GCSE. Now, it's difficult to compare like with Combined Science because of changes in the qualifications. But what we can do here is compare on the left GCSE Combined Science Double Award from this year, and on the right GCSE Additional Science from last year. And what we can see is that we do have quite a similar level of variability to last year, but possibly there is a little bit more. So we can see that actually schools have had slightly bigger changes in their results this year, which is probably to be expected. But overall, it's a really similar level of variability, and that's encouraging because it suggests that the vast majority of schools and colleges have adapted well to the reforms. Now, other reformed subjects in their first year have generally also seen very similar levels of variability to last year. Again, that's really encouraging and suggests that most schools have adapted well to the reforms. Now, if you want more detail on this, Ofqual have published a detailed report which is available through this link, and that has graphs for the other EBAC subjects as well.